Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have return guest, supermodel, tall, beautiful, tan, very tan and glowing, Guy Branum. Welcome back.
Hello, good to be here. This is my summer of vitamin D. Most fat people are low in vitamin D, and so I've been my political and self-care action for the summer has been getting sun.
Good. Why not?
Yes.
I mean, you know what? How many more years do we have left on this earth for everyone?
It's so
why
true.
not enjoy the sun?
No, I mean, we are all Carol Radziwill with 5 good summers left.
We really are. I'm not gonna advocate a tanning bed. That is a time that I never want to come back in my life. But definitely go sit in the sun. Put on some sunscreen, but go sit in the sun.
Okay, the YouTuber who I have let run my life. There's a man who has health YouTube things, and he's very hot, and I just do whatever he says. But he insists that you will not get sunburns. Like the bro science thing now is you will not get sunburns if you don't consume seed oils. So
seed oil. The other thing I've noticed is that younger kids, like teenagers and stuff, will be like, oh, the ozone index is an 8 today, so you'll be able to get tan. Like they want to get tan.
Oh yeah.
And I go, I don't even know what is that a bad thing? And they're like, no, it means the sun's really strong, so we're gonna get tan today. And they all follow that, and they have some app that.
I mean, it's wonderful. I am scared that I'm just going to be full of skin cancer, but I go to a dermatologist a lot.
That's good. Again, sunscreen, people, wear a hat.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the VMAs. They were on last night on MTV, and people were very excited about a few things. The NSYNC, including Justin Timberlake, finally came, danced with Lance Bass and everybody else. And so,
but they all wore full color suits except for Justin. Even in this moment, he needs to be. Why can't he be gracious? Why can't he just be one of the boys again?
Good point. But I loved it. I loved it for my friend Lance Bass, and I think they all looked great. And Taylor Swift is the most enthusiastic audience member that's also a star that has ever lived.
I always feel a little bit like it just wears on me a little bit that she needs to be gracious. She knows how tall and thin and blonde she is, and she knows that everyone's ready to say you have it too easy.
And so successful, right?
And so how much she's present for other people makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me want for her to just have something for herself. The way that when Gwyneth Paltrow, do we talk about how we're okay with Gwyneth Paltrow now because she's over 50 and thus we can classify her as a witch?
Oh, no, I didn't know that you did that.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
I didn't know that you started this movement.
So we for 10 years, we were like, oh, she's so full of herself. She's so uppity. And then at the trial, we were just like, fabulous. And
the trial of where she won what was the trial about?
Oh, she knocked into that man.
Oh, yes, the ski trial. Yes. I loved her during the ski trial.
I loved her
also being someone who's a skier and a bad skier, I don't want to be sued.
I loved her during the ski trial too, but I just love that we were able to be like, she's a diva. She exists on her own terms. And I really think as somebody around her age that it is because she achieved a different point in her life when we're not demanding relatability out of her. And
good point.
I just hate that we do that to Taylor Swift, but also she keeps making good music and is doing fine, so I don't care.
Let me ask you about Gwyneth. Because we've talked about Gwyneth and have talked about Jessica Alba, though I do think Gwyneth is a more obviously established actress and has the the chops. Do you think she'll ever get back into acting, or she just makes so much money on Goop she does not want to bother sitting in a trailer by herself?
I would love to see her take the risk, because there's the thing when people have enough established success around them, there's no incentive to take risks. And I think it could very easily be her coming back for one thing, it not being a hit out of the park, and her being like, never again. But things make me so happy. Mm-hmm. Cher in the 80s being like, I have things very established, but I'm going to go out on a limb and act and try real hard and then having real success at it makes me so happy.
Okay, so when Cher broke out in the 80s and it was such a big deal that she was over 40 and wearing a G-string and nylons that showed her ass tattoo.
Yes.
And I just remember she had a commercial about something and she's like, and here's 3 women in their 40s dancing in the rain. And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe a 40-year-old is dancing in the rain. Like I really think that she did change it for a lot of people that like 40's not old, 50's not old, 80's not old. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a little quick break from the show because I got to show you something really cool. This is BLUMENE. I absolutely love this device. It feels so good on my face. You've probably seen tightening devices like this, and you're like, what is up with that? Well, what I love about this one is that it's really shaped for any face. Other devices I felt like were difficult, and they kind of hurt. This one has just a warmth and a vibrating. When I do the red, green is for cleaning your pores, but this is just for a lifting. And I'm just going to do one side while I talk to you guys about it so you could actually see the difference. I do this just 3 times a week, 3 minutes a day, and I've noticed a difference. But I also like to do it right before I put on my makeup, or sometimes even before, like I'm about to go out at night and I just want like a little end of the day refresher and tightening because it gives such a great contouring and lifting. And right now, for the first 100 people, you guys are going to click on the link below. You're going to get this device for only $79. That's $70 off. It's normally $150. Now, it's only for the first 100 people, but they do refresh the link because it does sell out. So you want to go there right now. And you know what? If you don't notice a difference, if you don't like it, which I know you will get your money back. No questions asked, guarantee. I absolutely, oh my God, it feels so good. Like I said, the green is for cleaning pores. This red is for tightening. The blue is for like firming, but this is really for the lifting. And that's what I feel like I need the most for my jawline. Oh, I just get off on it and it feels good. I like the sound. There's no like electric shock or anything like some of the other brands I've tried. Okay, now I'm going to stop and you're going to look at the difference in my face. Okay, just check it out. Look how much higher this side is. It's kind of insane, kind of freaky. You guys are going to love it. Go to the link below. The first 100 people get the $70 off. So it's only $79 versus $150. Check out that link. Only the first 100. They do refresh the link. So if you miss out, check in a little bit because it always sells out. But then they refresh the supply to get everyone nice, tight, and right. Okay, now back to the show. So I love that. But I will say about Gwyneth, I love the movies that she's been in. I loved Talented Mr. Ripley. I loved A Perfect Murder.
Yeah.
I talk about that one a lot. I like watching her. I like her acting. I would love to see her in something, Netflix 8-episode series, juicy, like the one that, the one about, the one with Gwen, with
Big Little Lies, or
Big Little Lies, like a Big Little Lies kind of a thing. I'm sure there's a book out there that Reese Witherspoon hasn't realized yet. So if you're working for Reese, go find that book, give it to Reese, let her produce it, have Gwyneth Paltrow star, let it be a rich person story.
Yeah,
we don't need to see her being anything but a rich person in cashmere pajamas, and a beautiful home, gorgeous aesthetic, and some infidelity, murder, and a twist happens among 8 episods I can get off on.
That does sound very juicy. About the VMAs.
Write it, Guy.
Okay. About the VMAs, I was at High Tops at Gay Bar last night that we've been to together. Yes. And I went to the bar, and this guy in his 20s pointed at the screen and was like, "Do you know who that is?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I'm very old." And he was like, "I don't know either." And it was very difficult to realize just how many of the acts that I had no idea who they were. I was excited to see Renee Rapp from. Do you watch Sex Lives of College Girls?
I've watched a little. It's great.
It seems like something you would enjoy. But the star of that, who is so funny, she's a recording artist, and she was there in great presence. Was there actually a fist fight between Megan Thee Stallion?
Well, it was all coming in. Something happened between Justin Timberlake and Megan Thee Stallion. Now, according to People magazine and a few other reports, we can now say, no, not at all. She was getting her hair and makeup done. He walked by and she was like, "Hey." And he goes, "Hey." And she goes, "No, I want to meet you in person." And he's like, "Hi, like we're doing it now." And she was like, No, this doesn't count. I want to hang out with you. So it was very flattering on both sides and absolutely not a fight.
All right, I would like to say a couple of things. The first thing is that's why we love red carpets. It's because you have celebrities with their own kind and we're getting to watch and they're having organic interactions. And also at like a realer award show than this, you have people like award shows are good because we put famous rich people in jeopardy. We like dangle something in front of them and we get to see them want something. And then when they have a real reaction to it, you're like, juicy. And Joan was so good at the red carpet.
Joan Rivers, yeah.
And like we don't do that anymore because everybody got really scared about the idea that it needed to be body shamey or that it needed to be critical. But I also think like we do love talking about these outfits. Like is there a way that we can recapture what the joy of the red carpet was?
I saw a bunch of the red carpet looks and I thought they were all pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. One girl had a pink thing with like a bone coming through it.
Yes.
But that was the craziest thing I saw. A lot of nakedness looking stuff, but nothing like overly shocking. Well, pretty tame, I thought.
It was like seeing Nicki Minaj in like 3 different colors of like her business suit affair, sort of like her big leather duster or whatever. Like it felt subdued, though music stuff is always bolder than like the Academy Awards or the Emmys or something like that. Like when I worked at Fashion Police, it was always so much more fun to get to do the Grammys because like Bonnie McKee would show up in something ridiculous just to try to get attention. But
tell us about when you worked on the MTV Awards.
So the thing is what makes me sad about, look, I do not want there to be violence going on, but I do like shit going on. And like I worked on the VMAs in 2015, and like that was the year when Miley Cyrus and I think Nicki Minaj, it was definitely Nicki Minaj, like were having beef with each other. And like watching the way that these things were planned, watching Nicki Minaj strategize with her team about her approach to everything, being so clinical and managing all of it was really impressive to me. And the thing is like, I like these stories. To some extent, are they professional wrestling? Are they us being sold sort of like a heightened version of what reality is? Are people manufacturing drama for the sake of manufacturing drama? 100%, but I like seeing it done well.
So do you think that they had a real beef, Nicki and Miley, or no?
I mean, that one I don't think was real. I think there are definitely other situations where people legitimately hate each other or, don't like each other.
I think a lot of it, now I have a different perspective. I think a lot of it is fans getting involved and fans and people saying, oh, she dissed you in this live. She dissed you in this interview. What do you think about her diss? And then it was like, well, I don't appreciate that, and the two people never get on the phone and say, okay, let's keep the beef going or let's squash it. Or whatever.
Well, I think everyone's publicists just understand that like an article about what you eat for breakfast in the morning is not going to get the kind of traction that is about you made a Instagram post that might have been shading someone. Like they can get so much traffic off of that.
So true. A handful of almonds and a handful of berries as a snack.
Yeah.
Salmon for dinner.
Right.
Turkey salad for lunch.
Yes.
We've seen that article for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And you're right. No one cares.
No one cares.
I feel like we haven't seen that very much, and I want to thank everybody for stopping with a handful of almonds.
Yes.
Though it does make a good snack.
It does make a good snack. It's full of the right kind of fats. But like I do like there being I do like this being a world suffused with drama. I honestly wish more of the little girlies who have these singles out. I do sort of feel like the VMAs have been captured by like the record companies and the managers trying to make their client happen.
Yeah.
And I just want one of those clients to get in a fight with someone so that then I'll know who they are. Like I'm never going to really know who these people are until they get in a fight with someone established.
Very, very true. Very true. Here I am. Someone did find this photo for me. This is, I talked about last week about how Miley Cyrus, back when she did her 2014 tour, that's where she was humping teddy bears.
Yes.
And kind of.
That was the VMAs that I worked on.
Maybe didn't officially come out as bi, but it seemed like she was pretty bi, and now she's bi.
Yeah.
That I had to get in the outfit and hump the teddy bears.
Yes.
And a fan found it. So here I am as her, and I love her music.
No, she's so great. She's like one of the great personalities that we have, and it makes me sad that she's a Nepo baby, but also it makes you understand why it all works. I mean, Dolly Parton is her godmother, but like she's just so natural and seems relatable and actually continues to make good, interesting music. There are some people, I'm sorry for steamrolling.
Yeah.
I get mad that Adele is a good enough singer that she's never going to have to host a game show because Adele could host a game show.
Adele wants to be a stand-up comic.
Yes.
I mean, she literally, every clip I see, she's talking more than she's singing in the Vegas show.
And like Miley, I honestly believe that Miley's career will evolve enough that I will get to see her have it. Like maybe, does she have a daytime show 15 years from now? 100%.
Absolutely.
And she could pull it off. I think daytime show is like such a high level of like relatability is required, second only to cooking show.
Okay, can I just say about Miley? Because I thought you brought up a good point. I kind of forget that technically she's a Nepo baby in the sense that her dad was an established musician and singer, so that would have helped put her in front of the line for the show. What was the show called again?
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana. But I feel like people don't associate her with that because she was worked as a child star, like overly worked, fed coffee, having to wear a wig and eyelashes and all this other stuff. So she has sympathy as being like almost a little bit, child labor laws abuse, as well as being a little bit of a Nepo.
When I was working at Hacks, we tried to figure out a system of categorizing Nepo babies. It was grade 1 to grade 3.
Oh, you told me that. And you told me what my kids would be.
Yes.
Obviously, bottom of the barrel.
I feel like a Chris Pine.
Yes.
Like his dad was on a TV show, 100%, could maybe make some connections. And I feel like Chris Pine is definitely like a level 3 Nepo baby, as your children would be.
And so is Jen Aniston.
Yes, exactly.
Soap dad.
Like
working actor soap dad.
And it could have gone in any direction.
Right.
Mira Sorvino. And I feel like...
Where is Tracee Ellis Ross?
Oh, Tracee Ellis Ross, I would say, is like grade 2 or grade 1. I mean, great. Like her dad's also in the industry.
Yeah.
Her mom's a megastar,
What I got from Tracee Ellis Ross, because we were on our first shows together, the Lyricist Lounge, is I was impressed when I went to her apartment. I couldn't believe that someone had an apartment like this.
Yeah.
That hadn't really had a job before.
Right.
That's when I understood what it's like to be a Nepo baby or have a trust fund or whatever. You don't have a roommate. You have like an actual nice, decent apartment. But, and she told me like how she got the job that I got, which was I just put a video camera, which I'm like, wow, you own a video camera in my apartment. And she did all these different characters and then gave that tape to her agent that she obviously got easily through her mom at William Morris. And then they submitted it. And then she got the part. But the way I got the part was I couldn't even audition at all.
Right.
And then they found the white girl in the show. And then that girl didn't work out. And then the writers on that show that I worked with on Kenai Ruins, they suggested me. And then I got the part.
The number of jobs I have gotten because they hired somebody else who seemed like the right idea. And then that person didn't work out. And they were like, Guy'll work. And frequently got paid half as much as the person before me and was very aware of it. But it's also, those are also called opportunities.
And then, then we become friends and everything's great. And she introduces me to this fabulous like Japanese restaurant on 3rd.
Yes.
That was the first time I had like lotus fruit.
Yes.
Okay. Losing my mind.
What was that place called? That was like the good sushi restaurant when
it
I moved here.
Was sushi and like cooked.
Yes.
Anyway, she tells me later on, Heather, I'm no longer going to be part of the show, even if it continued, but I don't think it did. Because I got this pilot that's going for UPN.
Was it Girlfriends?
And it was Girlfriends. And she said the showrunner and the writer and the creator was at the restaurant and saw and didn't know who she'd get for Joan, saw Tracee and was like, that is who should do it. Then, of course, Tracee, auditioned and she killed it and she was perfect for it. So I do say that, like, whether you're Kim Kardashian and you became famous one way or like nobody keeps giving you jobs unless you have the craft and you can do it.
The thing is she's had 2 hit sitcoms.
She's great.
You can't, being Diana Ross's daughter doesn't do that for you. She's terribly talented, but also I just love that Camille Grammer has Girlfriends money. Like, it just thrills me to no end.
Wait,
Kelsey was EP and she And
because there was another girlfriend type of show that Camille was doing that I auditioned for Camille.
Oh, really?
That
Camille
was
Grammer?
Yes.
That she was an actress on?
No, that she was going to help produce.
Oh, okay.
That she was producing. That was another type of a bunch of girls.
Yes.
You know, everyone was trying to doing like a Friends meet Sex in the City kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that one either. But I remember I did audition for her and she remembered me because I had a part on Frasier and she was super nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I don't think the show went. But I didn't get it anyway.
Yes,
I never got anything.
Like that Kelsey Grammer was the producer of Girlfriends always seemed ridiculous to me. But also, it's not because he works on good stuff and that show was so good.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Dancing with the Stars.
Mauricio's journey.
Mauricio, now there's a huge list. I'm not even going to get it out. The ones we care about is Ariana Grande, which we knew. Mauricio, this was leaked about a week ago because some detective saw some, thirst photo that he took of himself and realized he was in the dance studio of some former whatever. And then Jamie Lynn Spears is doing it as well.
Uh-huh.
And what I heard is that Jamie, and I heard this on a different radio show, so Jamie said, I'm going to give my salary to the writer's strike or the SAG or something. And then other people were like, yeah, because you're probably not going to last that long and you get paid per episode. I don't know how
That's surprising to me because I would think that Jamie needs the money.
I don't know if she's doing this or if this is even accurate, but I don't know if I would think she needs the money too. Take the money, girl.
Well, and this is also an interesting time for her to be coming back because as I understand it, she was pretty much a bad guy in the whole narrative.
That's why I think that she's doing this.
And it's also like Britney has been in control of herself for long enough that we are starting to understand and see the complexity of Britney. I don't think in any way that Britney is a human being who should have been under a conservatorship for a decade. Like that anyone should have their rights taken away.
I'm just going to move up to the Britney part since we're talking about this.
Yes.
Oh, getting back to Jamie though. Jamie was on that other show, Special Forces.
Oh, okay.
That's with Dr. Drew. And she basically saved Dr. Drew's life. He was on the first day. It's like they're like Navy SEALs or the version, the English version of Navy SEALs. Yeah. They have to do all this stuff. Right now, Tom Sandoval's on it, but she was on it and she lasted a decent amount of time. Yeah. And he thought she was great and really nice and never spoke about Britney on that show.
I don't think she has enough personality, and I could be wrong, to be a great reality show person. Do you think
I think because she's a Nepo sibling. Do you think people are meaner about Nepo siblings
100%
than Nepo
100%.
Loins from your loins?
There are always those situations where Justine Bateman, Jason Bateman, where they were both sort of very talented and have had careers of different energies where you get sort of worried or you feel responsible for them, or those twins who are Katie Sagal's sister. That's always interesting to me when people I
don't know about that.
That show from the early 80s with the twins, it was a sitcom. You 100% remember that show. But they were Katie Sagal's sisters, and now Katie Sagal, has a much better career than them. Anyway, the point is, it's very hard to be a Nepo sibling. I don't understand going into the career of the people.
I think the people that have done it right are the Wayans brothers.
I mean, 100%, but also that's a system that keeps promoting itself. So many of them are talented and it just keeps coming. Damon Wayans Jr. did a lot for that family.
And so did Keenan is the first one that did it.
I know that Keenan, the first generation of all of them, they were also talented. But then having somebody else from the second generation pop up who just everyone wanted
Damon Wayans Jr. Yes, he's great. Yeah. What was great about them too is that the ones that were not in front of the camera, they employed and they were really good at their jobs too, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And but it is interesting about I feel that, she's gotten a lot of hate because the book came out and they didn't feel like she was on her side. But let's get into the latest on Britney, because I don't think you know the latest about her new love.
Not.
So there was stories a few weeks ago that the reason that Sam filed for divorce is that she was cheating with a male housekeeper, which seemed strange. Now then I heard, no, it's the male gardener. Yes, this is him. Yes, they are dating.
It's amazing.
And he does something on the property. Now they're calling him he was doing construction on the property.
Okay, first of all, Sam Asghari is possibly the hottest human being on the planet. And one of the things...
Hotter than Brody Jenner.
Yes, 100%.
Totally disagree.
Why?
I just think Brody Jenner is the best looking person. But best looking person.
I just love that however much like Britney was constrained and wasn't allowed to be herself, we also understood her taste in men and that like she's an erotic being. Like I like that because as somebody who was eroticized so young, there's always this danger of feeling that that sexuality was pushed at them in such a way that they don't have a relationship with it. Natalie Portman has sort of talked about the ways that she didn't feel comfortable for so much of her life being engaged with her sexuality because there was so much coming at her from a young age. And I just love that like we always knew Britney likes to have a good time and we know what type of guy she likes to have a good time with. And this makes me happy because even though...
Oh my God, no, it's not when I tell you more.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to make you happy.
No.
Okay. Now, I heard stuff about this a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And now that this is out on Us Weekly, he's been interviewed. He says, I'm not going to speak on it, but they're naming him Paul Richard Soles. He was making some appearance at like a Chatsworth courthouse. He has... 2 baby mamas, one I think that is deceased and one that he's getting a restraining order against. I don't know. There's all this kind of stuff. He's got custody of 2 of the kids. He's trying to get custody of the others. He has some criminal background, which involves driving without a license, negligence of a child, also something having a gun without a license.
Okay.
All little things. Okay, anyway, wait.
Let me say this here before you say the big bad thing. That all makes me happy because the Louisiana is in her blood. You just sort of know this is who she would still be if none of all of this had happened to her. And like
Jason Alexander, her first husband.
Like, yes. And that this dude is a fucking dude. And that like, yes, she looks at Sam Asghari and is like beautiful pecs, beautiful abs. Absolutely. She likes a nice looking man. But that this guy just sort of like raw masculine power of like, look at him cut down that tree.
So now the rumors are that he has moved in. A couple of his kids have moved in. And that's where I get nervous as someone who cares for Britney, is that when people start to infiltrate a rich person's life that doesn't have family around, and maybe people say, thank God her family's not around, but the family's not around, then... And she's so happy to have people, and he's, banging her good and providing her for which whatever they might do together that might not be so healthy, that may cause her to spin for, 10 days straight. I don't know. But if I was her sister, Jamie Lynn Spears, or her parents, this would not make me happy, and I would have much preferred Sam to have stayed.
I would have much preferred Sam to have stayed because Sam always was clearly dumb enough that he wasn't going to pull any big moves to try to take over her life. That said, her family controlled her life for so long that she gets to fucking do what she wants to do. And if she wants to hand over everything of herself to somebody else, that is her agency. And if it ends up fucking her in the end, at least she made those decisions.
Well, I think he is fucking her, and I think that's what's great.
It does.
That's the one good part.
Like, but it does make me worry that she is this person who is so likely to let other people,
this is,
she's looking for somebody to take care of her, and it's so hard. Like
Sam Lufty.
But that was
Sam
the
Lufty.
version.
I've asked to come on my show many times. He will not. I do I'd love to hear his point of view. He's defended himself many times in the last couple years. But, she does kind of find these people. And if you watched the movie with The Weeknd and what was that called?
The
Idol. A lot of people said, that the story was loosely based on a Britney Spears character who sees this guy who she allows in her life, allows to control her, that it was a sort of a Britney Spears type of a person.
Do you think that we will see Marilyn Monroe style stories about her, just because there is something so tragic about
I think
the way that she's always looking for love and looking for somebody to take care of her?
I mean, somebody said this to me and you're going to lose your mind.
What?
But it is a little bit Sunset Boulevard modern day.
Yeah.
Where she could think that she is still, I don't know how with it she is or not, but that when she's spinning and everything, is she like, I'm on the stage at the Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this and then this small group of people around her, the butler of Sunset Boulevard is now this gardener / handyman. I don't know what he does. And the world gets smaller, but with Instagram, she's able to.
We get an eye into it. You know, we're always seeing it.
And she gets the response, not the comments, but she gets the response of this many views, this many likes.
It's so hard when you see how well managed and what a great business person Taylor Swift is. And just sort of like hearing the story about them circumventing the studios to release her tour special directly through the theaters. It is just sort of like, that's so brilliant. And clearly so much of that initiative and intelligence is coming from her, but also she has so many great business people around her. And it's just sort of so sad that like somebody who needs that kind of support, like if Britney had the right people around her, there could be people who were helping guide her towards continuing to be an artist who grows. And I don't think that will happen. And maybe it's not what she wants.
I think even if she does, I don't know how much control those people have.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to be reading her book. Supposedly the book is great and coming out. And
which she wrote. 100% she wrote.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I mean, I don't know. You want it to be, one of the good ghostwriters, like the guy who wrote Princess Diana's book. I kind of think she did write it herself because
really?
I really don't think that she could keep a schedule where someone's coming and she's sitting on a couch and they're typing away. I don't think so.
There's no, I question her literacy skills.
This is what I think happened. This is how I think the book was done.
Not that she's illiterate, but just like that she needs somebody to help her make a sentence.
This is what I think happened.
Yes.
I think she talked into a recording device.
Yes.
And I think they took all of that.
Yes.
And then they worked on it. And then they went to her and was like, okay, we just want you to talk about this little part about when you were in Louisiana at 8. Okay,
yes.
Just do that. Send that to me. Like, I think they gave her little assignments. So it is her words,
yes.
But someone organized and put it together.
I did that.
Anyway, that's a super smart way to do it.
Josh, what's his name from?
Altman.
Yes, Josh Altman.
For his book.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it for busy people. Okay, I want to talk to you, being that you're a Writers Guild person.
Yes.
Now, Drew Barrymore a couple days ago announced that she would be returning. She is a, SAG-AFTRA Writers Guild show, but just a little update on it. So, that she won't be using writers to do it.
And there is a SAG agreement for daytime. So
okay, explain that.
So there are different contracts for different parts of the industry, and SAG right now does have, as I understand it, a contract for daytime. So she's not violating SAG and going back, but she is breaking the strike for the Writers Guild. And she's also not showing solidarity with SAG for, theatrical stuff in primetime and everything.
But I guess like she still wouldn't be like highlighting any actors that have movies coming out or whatever, or working on movies, because that would be that would be part of it. But Sherry Shepherd and Jennifer Hudson are scheduled to be back on the air starting September 18th, according to their social media accounts. So I don't know if they're not Writers Guild or they're,
it's really interesting.
And this talk as well.
Because last time this happened, like after a couple of weeks, all of the late night shows went back and said that they didn't have writers. And it was supposed to be just the hosts riffing and improvising. And this time that has not happened. And there has been a whole lot more pushback for people who are doing that. And I think that's really important because we're in a hard fight right now. And as long as those companies, and all of those companies are much bigger now. All of the studios are now owned by big corporations who have enough money that they can spend a year not making money off of this entertainment division. And every time somebody goes back and allows them to continue to make money, it disincentivizes them from being able to find a contract that will be able to meet the future of what entertainment is for the people who are making the entertainment. It's so hard. We all love Drew Barrymore. Like, I've been on her show a couple of times. She's a very nice person. And I also understand when you're coming into this as a performer who usually, when it comes to the big business stuff, somebody tells you what's going on. I'm sure somebody told her, like, if we don't go back, we're going to have to lay off all of our crew and it's going to fuck over our crew and everything like that. And I understand that worrying her, but also those crew members make a good living off of that job because of their unions. And nobody has been more supportive of the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA during all of this than the Teamsters and IATSE and those other trade unions who understand that this is important. And it makes me like, and I also understand that like daytime is in this weird space where they are like on a bubble, and like I believe is having to go down to a half hour. Like a lot of these shows are, in trouble because people aren't watching broadcast television as much anymore. But also these things are they're also freight trains. They are shows that still get eyes every day. It's one of the few places that you can still go and promote something. And
Is she going to be able to crawl into someone's lap still?
No, I mean, I think
and be like, oh my God, no, seriously, I love bunnies. They're so soft. It's incredible that they're actual animals and not just stuffed animals.
I mean, it's really hard because her persona is that. Her persona is sort of like
the sweetest.
I'm sweet and on everybody's side, and I think that this probably comes from her trying to be on everybody's side. But this is also the I Love Rain video person, I mean, she is just, I don't think she has thought a lot about the like larger implications of this.
It's too bad that she didn't have you to call, because I thought a different way before you sat down. I did think I wouldn't have done it if,
Yeah.
But I understand the pressure of, but we have the crew and, this kind of thing. And like, I remember when Jay Leno went back to the Tonight Show in 2008 and just did it without the writers. But I also remember he was paying for he was so wealthy, he was still able to pay for their salaries and this kind of thing. And you can't really compare this to 2008 because the world is so different. The stakes are different.
The notion that you're going on without jokes is false. Like all of those people saying, oh, I don't have writers right now is not true. People were giving them stuff under the table. And you yourself just going on and sort of like riffing stuff are doing work that should be covered by the Writers Guild. I mean, daytime is a little bit of a different situation because what's being written there isn't as significant as it is on like a late night show with jokes and everything. But also, I know writers on those shows. I have interviewed to be writers on those shows. It is a job, and it is disrespectful of the people who support, like who hold you up. Like when you're on a show like that, it feels like you're the whole show. Your name is the show, but there are so many people who hold you up, and like, you got to respect that,
Right. Well, that was she's under fire. And then she made a long explanation that was like, I didn't do the MTV Film and Television Awards because I was the host and da-da-da. And then she said, I own this choice. We are in compliance with not discussing and promoting film. Again, I understand what she's trying to say, but you explained it best.
I mean, astute humility is somebody tweeted this, a great illustration of the fact that she needs writers. But he's also—
That's what she says at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. But also it's just sort of like, that she's not somebody who— Drew Barrymore didn't go to school. Right. She went to school on the set of E.T. She went to school on the set of Firestarter. And I think, you would hope that somebody would understand the business better about that. But I also think she's somebody who is used to listening to the people around her who she feels like know about this. And I think she probably got not great counsel. And I'm really hoping that other people similarly positioned don't.
Really great points. Thanks. I mean, I think people are going to explain it. You're explaining it well. Wait, let me just make sure that because I skipped over a couple. No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. Okay, so quick Sandoval update. Tom Sandoval. So Raquel is back on her Instagram, and she's in a garden and whatever. And it was her birthday, and Tom Sandoval tweeted or wrote to her maybe under an Instagram or something. Happy birthday, Raquel. I really hope you're finding peace and happiness. Miss you, friend. She let that be known on her Instagram, and that she also blocked him. And really kind of a great moment for for everybody involved. It's funny to imagine him deciding to do that, knowing that it would be public, thinking, friend, like, thanks for boning me those 7 months or whatever it was. I'm going to continue on with my show and my tour. Hope you enjoy your flowers. Hope you're having a, good day. And and it was a smart move of hers.
There are so many riches here.
Yes.
Resilient fuckboy energy makes me so happy. Like when somebody falls down and picks themselves up and is just like, I'm not going to stop. This is just who I am and what I do. Makes me extremely exciting, especially when that person is hot. He's real hot. Second of all, the fruit plate down at the bottom, I just want to know so much more about, because it is like, who fastidiously put together this beautiful fruit plate? What intern or assistant had to make it look eaten from? Because it looks so well eaten from. And also there are actual peaches, but then also there's just a little pumpkin because we're almost into fall. So there's a little pumpkin for show. And I just...
Maybe she did it and her new venture is lifestyle blogging.
Oh.
Cheese boards, pumpkin displays, and flowers.
I mean,
prediction.
It is like going hard into that kind of pivot and understanding that pivot is really, really smart. Let us never forget how much money Kathy Ireland has made off of ceiling fans. Just sort of like.
Let us never forget.
Understanding what your pivot is, because like that is beautiful, and like truly the people who get what they need from a reality show and then sneak off to the bank with whatever their deal is. I
actually have a hard time with charcuterie boards.
Really?
It's hard for me to graze it. I end up eating too much of it.
Yes.
It's hard for me to chuck it after and not have that poor person mentality that needs to wrap up the things that have already been touched and are gross.
I mean, that's so much of the gesture of it, is being able to just sort of say, oh, that remaining $37 worth of cheese, let's just get rid of it because I need to have, a refrigerator that looks aesthetically pleasing. But this is so perfect. You got, like, those are ripe peaches. I'm really impressed with that. But also, so much of it is still there. This is clearly a done charcuterie board. They've worked their way through it.
Whenever I see a peach, I always think of this commercial when I was a little girl. Summer, summer fruit, it wouldn't be summer with fresh from the tree, taste it and see.
I do remember that commercial.
Oh, okay. That was a commercial you saw too. I want to just finish up this Drew from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yes.
So they had this moment at the end of the reunion where she sang her latest song to her husband that she said on the reunion as he's sitting there. She said, "You've cheated on me and all these things. You embarrassed me and you cheated on me." He accused her of having lesbian affairs. And then she showed photos of a girl's ass and everything that said, "I want that D," that supposedly she had evidence of him, having sexy text messages with. And he said he was catfished. All of it, I said, this is so weird, seems so fake. The fact that he sat there, listened to her sing, he produced the music, and Candy put her in this movie called The Pass that just came out on Peacock.
Oh, no.
So I watched The Pass on Peacock.
And that's like the premise of it?
Oh, my God, this was all fake. This was all set up. The four of them are in it together. Her, Candy, her husband, Todd Tucker, who shot the movie in 10 days at his house using the Tyler Perry formula.
Yeah.
So I watched it. It's pretty low bud cheese. Took me 2 days to get through it. Drew's pretty decent actress in it. And she has this husband. And all of a sudden, this girl that she works with, who is the husband's best friend, who's a female, they have sex and all this stuff. And then I'm not going to ruin it for anybody that's going to watch it. But the twist of it proves that they were acting at the end of this reunion to get people to watch this movie, The Pass.
Was it a satisfying viewing experience?
Yes.
Okay.
A cheese. But I was impressed with Candy and Todd that they got a sale by Peacock, and I think it was smart of Peacock to buy it. So I thought it was a good, move around.
I also do love when sort of there is a deep fake kind of promotion kind of thing. Those always really excite me. I mean, I wonder about, was it poorly done if you were like, this is weird, or was it correctly done if you said this is weird because it caused you to investigate and watch the movie?
I watched the movie just out of curiosity. I didn't know that the movie would prove that my original theory from Tuesday was correct.
Yeah.
Because there was everything in the movie was in what we saw in the last 10 minutes of the reunion. The fake messages, the lesbian affair, the you embarrassed me is literally a line that Candy says in the movie. Like, everything about it was set up.
When the newer Real Housewives try to produce too hard, and give you stuff that feels super like fake or manufactured, it just feels sweaty. And so I am skeptical of that, though the movie sounds compelling.
I mean, it's pretty sexy. Dorinda has a new face.
Dorinda looks amazing.
By Wig Hello Drama said, "What are you doing here without Dorinda?" Which is a famous line. I looked at her old face.
Are you implying that I don't know what it meant when John Asgharian or whatever showed up?
It was Sonia who said it.
Yes, no, I remember. What are you doing here without Dorinda?
And then Dorinda made the shirts. What are you doing this without Dorinda? And I was like, it's actually Sonia's line.
Right.
But she looks amazing. She has longer hair. But the real difference is what I think she got her eyes done. The upper lids. And I think she got a lower facelift, and I think she did something to the nose, either a filler in the nose or maybe even a nose job that's still going to be even smaller in about 3 months.
I do find it really fascinating the way that Sonia in particular, I think, is somebody who can look so gorgeous and also can look, relatively busted, you know? So it's like on a knife's edge, and I'm always so fascinated to see which version of Sonia we're going to get.
Whenever I see a woman past 55 that shows up with a completely new face, whether it's Kathy Hilton or her or Sheba Sheree or whatever, it gives me hope that if I can find a few months off, I can come back as like a completely different person.
Yes.
And I would tell everybody that, I would have to, unless I just want to actually leave the earth and come back as a different person.
And also just that thing of like getting the good work done in just the right way. There are the people who come and it's just like, you've had a bunch of work. And then there are the people who come back and you're just like,
I went to a retreat.
Yes, you look so refreshed.
Amy Schumer, I talked about this on Tuesday. She made a little funny joke, threw up a photo of Nicole Kidman at the US Open and said, "This is how humans sit." She got a lot of shit for it. So then she did another post and she said, I'm sorry for my post, but maybe the cast of the 70s show can write me a letter. Wait, what did she write? What did she say? She said, "I want to apologize to all the people I hurt posting a photo of Nicole Kidman and alluding to her being an alien. I will be asking the cast of that 70s show to write letters advocating for my forgiveness." Then she had to remove that too. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny.
I mean, it's all very funny. Like, I understand that we had to come, like, that everyone is very self-conscious about, like, are we shaming people? Is what we're doing sort of perpetuating negative stereotypes? But it's also like there used to be a tradition in comedy of sort of like getting to take a shot at the people who were gorgeous and rich and felt like you had everything. And there is also an interesting way that it is easy for somebody as they rise as a comedian to not realize that they are in a greater position of power.
That's exactly what I said. I go, it's okay. So you can't punch down, but you can punch up. And I think this should be a lesson to her to be like, wow, I've really made it. Because I almost feel like if I had made that joke, no one would have cared.
Yes.
Because they would have been like, oh, you wish you were Nicole Kidman, you stupid loser.
Right.
You wish you'll never get a seat at the tennis open.
Yes.
But Amy Schumer could have a seat at the tennis open.
The thing is I have trouble with the idea of punching up and punching down because I think the world is more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
Behaving as though you can simply put on a hierarchy everyone is really, really stupid. And yes, everyone's had to go through stuff. But what real harm is there from, pointing out that Nicole Kidman is someone who is famous for poise, who is famous for positioning. We all go to the AMC theater and recite along with her incantation before the movie because she is giving us poise and angles at every moment. And, this is Amy's way of saying she's a different kind of person than I am.
Right.
This is ridiculous. And I think having more of a sense of humility as a comedian about the stuff you say and people pushing back. But I think everyone also being able to have more of a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, I mean, but I could get it. She's probably like, oh, fuck, I have to take that one down too.
And also,
who cares?
the thing is like, this also, again, very, very funny. I also understand the argument that anytime you are getting close to rape and people who have been victims of a terrible crime, that like making light of it from any angle is hard. But also there were so many stories about, oh my God, can you believe that this happened, about the two of them, that like, isn't that also profiting off of the story of somebody's, like, why are these news stories not also being criticized for profiting off of like the scandal associated?
I mean, they kind of do when you read the comments. They're like, really, people, like, you know, some of them. But I thought this was pretty funny. This is from Matt.
Two people who should have had better guidance.
Yes. So for Ashton and Mila, they did their apology video. And this person wrote, I know their PR team wrote them to sit in front of an innocuous, normal person-looking wall, but unfortunately for them, I have also watched their Architectural Digest house tour, and I know exactly where this was filmed. So their house is gorgeous. They are really wealthy. I don't think you have to apologize to having a gorgeous home, but I always do think it's funny of when you do your apology video, how much little makeup you use and how much makeup you use. You don't want to look completely scary, but you want to look like it was done in the moment and immediate.
I mean,
so you want to look a little disheveled and a little like, I have to get this out right now because you guys need to know my truth.
It's all Erica Jane not wearing waterproof mascara.
Amazing.
You know, it's all a question of how much are you producing, and it's very hard for these people who like produce everything and have staff to produce everything.
Yes.
But can I just say,
yes,
in my dark years after leaving Chelsea lately,
yes,
when there was nowhere else for me to work, I had to work for Ashton Kutcher's production company for about a year.
Do tell.
And I've never met somebody who was so certain of their own intellect who was so wrong. Like, he just really thought he was a mogul and that he understood everything. And it was just I have gotten to see up close the way that the people around a celebrity can make them think, you got this. I mean, it was during the period of time when he did the bad brown face thing for Pop Chips. And like, there was
what was that? Explain.
He did brown face and pretended to be an Indian person and did like a bad accent for a Pop Chips commercial, sort of at that turning point in culture when people had been doing, I'm not excusing that he did it, but it was conventional wisdom for most of the 2000s that, you know, brown face, a bad accent for an East or South Asian person, or in any way pretending to be gay was just like the heart of comedy. And,
totally true.
And so, like, I think these people who aren't sophisticated comedy thinkers, I mean, I kind of have just like a different scale for somebody like Amy Schumer, who is thinking on her own about comedy.
Right.
And these people who have just like are reacting to, the world says that this is funny, why don't I do this? I understand why people do extremely dumb stuff like this. This is so weird because it is like they are showing loyalty to someone who is their friend. And I think...
I just want to say, because I remember when I was your date to the movie that you were in.
Yes.
What was it called again?
No Strings Attached.
No
with
Strings
Ashton.
Attached. You played like Natalie Portman's best friend.
Yes.
And afterwards, or maybe at the after party, you went, I think you went in the car with them to one of the parties.
Yes.
And I met you at the party. And what you told me later was the way that Demi and the girls, his stepdaughters at the time, hung on his every word.
He was
like he was the president of the United States.
He was lecturing Demi about the history of the Chicago Bears, and she was just treating him as if he was the most intelligent like person. And it was just sort of, I don't know, it was like humoring a child. It was really
that always stuck in my mind, like, oh, that's so interesting. Because then when I read her book, which was fascinating. If you haven't read Demi Moore's book, read it. It's really good.
But I just feel in a situation like this, like, you have a different perspective on this because you are a woman, and you have always had to be aware of the amount of violence and threat that is going on to women. But like, as a man, that thing of, since Me Too, we have talked more about the shit that you don't see. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing of like having to say, this person is fine to me, but I am not a person that they are a predator towards. So I need to understand that my sense of and like my sense of loyalty isn't applicable here. You know,
I mean, listen, my sister's a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah.
I've had a brother that, we asked for letters, to get. So people do give letters to their friends' kids that's did a DUI or going to the things people do that.
Yeah.
But I think what is interesting about this is that he didn't really seek the right counsel PR wise.
Right.
And the question is, why did he make such an awful PR decision as if his letter's going to really help this guy anyway?
Right.
Why would you do that when you're in the position that he's in? And that's what is, I think, baffling. And that's why people are going down rabbit holes and being like, what really was this deep connection between him and the Scientologist and the 70s show and their relationship and all this stuff so it really opened up a can of worms that was unfortunate for him.
To me, it feels just like Danny asked me. And Danny is my boy. We became famous at the same time together. And it's like...
Danny was who I called when I saw the woman that I was going on the date with who was murdered.
Oh, what? What happened?
So he was part of a famous case in which he had a date with a woman. He went to pick her up and she was murdered. And the rumors are that this one of the women that accused Danny of rape has come forward and said, I was there when Danny got the call. You called him first to say, what do I do, instead of the police. And then they finally caught the guy after he committed another crime and a woman got away. And that's how they caught. So it was another crime and another murder and attempted. And he did take the stand and he was not accused of the murder or anything like that. But that is where, again, he should have thought about that and that people would find this out and that it would be dug up and it would look really poorly, even though, no one's accusing him of the murder, but some people are accusing him of not going straight to the police.
Scientology being tied up in all of this makes me so worried and so uncomfortable. I always just look to Leah Remini in these times to be like, tell me how I should be approaching this. But that's just a real mess.
I want to run to some fun stuff before we end it. Yes, Go ahead.
But I also think we need to challenge ourselves and push back at ourselves about how much we are enabling people when we sort of decide to ignore the parts of them that don't hurt us.
That's good point. I want to talk a little bit about OC. Are you up on OC?
I'm not
Real
at all.
Housewives OC.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just quickly say I've never felt more of a kingship with Heather Dubrow.
Oh, Heather Dubrow did Talk Show the Game Show. She was amazing.
That was your show. Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing is she sells her house for $55 million, and the girls are upset that she doesn't find out that the girls find out through the press, and she kept it a secret. Josh Altman brought the offer.
Yes.
And so then they all approach her and they say, why wouldn't you tell us? Why did you keep it a secret? And she's like, well, why would I tell you? Because this whole season, she doesn't say season, but this whole time we've been hanging out these last few months, you either say that I talk too much about myself and I make it about myself, and now you say I'm being aloof and secretive, so I cannot win. I cannot win with you. And I didn't think you'd be happy for me.
Yes.
And they're like, why do you think we wouldn't be happy with you? I don't know. Have you seen the other women's houses? None of that. Gina, it's my understanding that she lives in a decent house, but I believe that her mother-in-law had something to do with that. Yeah. So it lives upper middle class, but not to the level.
And Heather's husband is upscale dermatologist, right?
He's a plastic surgeon, but they've made a lot of money, a lot of investments. They have a lot of products. Then Gina is a hardworking girl trying to get a real estate license with her husband, and they have her new boyfriend. She lives in a condo. Yeah. It's small. Tamara does good. Tamara does fine. Shannon is in, a nice house, but it's a rental. This other girl, Jen, she lives in, the Tuscan look with the chocolate spotted.
Yes.
And so does Taylor. They need a redo on their kitchen. So you have Heather Dubrow in a $55 million house. No, I don't think they're going to be happy that she sold it and that she bought a condo in, in LA.
I mean, that's exciting.
For $14 million. And I want to see her go to Beverly Hills.
Yes. I mean, that would be amazing. I think she's high quality. And I also think like with Taylor, the notion of people being bumped up or bumped down a franchise makes me happy. Let's make this as much like European soccer as possible. Also, working on the book for Josh Altman was what taught me that when something has that Tuscan look, it is just worth 20% less than it would have been otherwise.
You know why? Because it's hard to redo. It'd be better off if you're buying like an older like 80s ranch.
Yeah.
It's easier to update that to 2023 than a 2004 dark chocolate Tuscan ranch look. Tuscan villa.
I do have to say, though, I do like when all of the members of a Real Housewife franchise realize that one of them is too powerful and so combine all of their powers to destroy her. Like the season where on Beverly Hills, where all of the most powerful witches in the land banished Lisa Vanderpump. I hate it because I love Lisa Vanderpump, but also it's good TV.
It's a gang up.
Yes.
Speaking of Kyle, she just shared that she's in Paris with Morgan Wade. I'm gonna make you love me. Well, I'm here with Kyle Richards, Beverly Hills girl. I'd never seen the show. I was just a little country bumpkin singing these songs. And then she says, I want to make you a star. And that's what's happening. So she shows on her Instagram, she has a crew behind her. We know it's not the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills crew. We know she's doing a documentary to make Morgan Wade, in my opinion, the next Carrie Underwood with tats and a little light lesbianism. And so the question still is, are they, finger banging or not? Or are they just good friends and she's using her as a project to up both their careers, which I think that is for sure.
I 100% think that she is getting sex out of this.
Okay,
I 100% think that's an evolution I've seen in so many people in our world.
Late in life les.
Late in life les. Also, if it is real lesbianism, what is the timeline between Kyle starting dating a woman and going on a vacation with Fortune and Jax?
Wow.
I think
3.5 years.
Yes, I think 3.5 to 4 years. Yeah. They're off the coast of Croatia in a boat.
You know what? I'm not going to be happy for Fortune.
Why?
Unless I'm invited.
That's fair.
I'm going to be honest. That's not one that I'm going to be like, go have fun, girl. I'm going to be a little pissed.
Yes. Would you?
Yeah.
Would you separate from Peter for 9 months and start a relationship with a country star or a women's soccer player just to sort of to get to see what the A-list Los Angeles power lesbian world is like? Would you ever go undercover?
If I could go undercover and the sex is just like a tickleback and watching movies, that 100% I could live with a woman for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I don't want to learn anything new. And I just don't think I'd be good at it. Just to be totally honest.
Yeah, no one thinks you would be good at it.
No one thinks I'd be good at it. Tickleback I could do. Tickleback in your arm. Tickleback. I'm all about it. Salt Lake, are you watching it?
I watched the first episode. I thought that the snowball fight was the most, it was a very satisfying evolution of Real Housewife. I would have liked to have seen it not in the first episode, but somewhere, them actually getting to do something aggressive at each other, but that had no consequences. Made me really happy. I sort of hope that 2 episodes from now, somebody shows up with crutches and it's like, you hit me very hard on the head. And now, something like that.
Snowball.
That would make me a little happy.
I don't think that's going to happen because they're already in Palm Springs and they seem to be okay.
Okay.
But it's, Meredith is getting very angry with everybody. And I will tell you right now, I want her out of here. This is wrong. Should we talk about her husband? Should we talk about what's going on with her life? They are out for blood to destroy everybody's marriage and everyone's livelihood.
So was Jen Shah the locus of chaos and danger in the previous seasons?
She is the biggest criminal in the history of reality TV. Next to Chrisley, knows best.
Yes.
So she has been in prison for 7 to 9 years or something. She has to definitely do 7, maybe a year got scraped, but she's definitely doing 7. And no one gives a shit. No one is packing a lunch and going to visit her. It's over with. They're done. And then this other girl that used to be her assistant that I guess turned on her and then gave info to save herself and to get her convicted. She's now a housewife.
Yes. Do you think that Andy could work something out so that, like that season when Bethany was only talking to her employees, like
the driver Billy?
Yes, Jen just had like
Kevin, his name was Kevin.
A prison matron that she from her cell, she
Somebody was saying, they one thing that pisses off a housewife more than being fired is when they are still being talked about on episodes when they're not there, and they feel like, how dare you use me for content? How dare you use me as a storyline when you're not paying me? And there's been talk of like, is there any, retribution or kind of lawsuit or anything? So they're saying she must be pissed in prison, but there's nothing she can do about it.
And then Mary got bumped last season, and now she's back as friend.
She's back with no concept of her about her church. No one's talking about the church. I went to the church with the boys. We went to go look at it, and it was all boarded up, and it was all closed up, and it was creepy and scary, and she just brings her bags, and she's just like a snobby bitch, and she just acts like she doesn't talk about Jesus, and she doesn't act nice or religious.
Well, it does seem like Luann's friend of season was so transformative for Luann. I think it really got her on the straight and narrow for who she needs to be on a Real Housewives show. And do you think Mary can recover in that same way?
No, I think this is going to be kind of a mistake that she came.
Yeah.
I think, what was good about her is that we thought she was a weird cult criminal too. And if that's not going to be featured at all, and she's not going to be making weird eyes about how much she hates her husband, that was her step grandpa.
Yes.
I don't know that we just need to see her being a snob. I don't think that's that interesting.
Well, not participating in the snowball fight was very it was shades of Aviva of do you think it's going to be interesting that you don't do the thing? I mean, at least she was there wrinkling her nose at it, but it's just
I'm not doing the snowballs. Okay. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not fun.
Guy, thank you so much for being here.
Can we talk about one more thing?
Yes, we can talk about one more thing.
Okay, I just wanted to talk about, there's been shit going on with you, and people have been saying that you were homophobic because you didn't do a video for the campaign against, bans on drag. And we talked about it, and you sort of said, it was a political thing that I didn't understand all of. And so I promoted the stuff, but
the telethon.
But I just didn't want to do a video because I didn't understand it. And that made a lot of sense to me, knowing who you are and knowing that you are a person who loves the queer community, but you're also somebody, we have disagreed about stuff. And you've had a lot of people push back at you when it comes to stuff that is politics. And you do you create boundaries with just sort of I'm not going to get involved in that because I don't understand it. And I just wanted to say that made a lot of sense to me. But also just wanted to talk to you about the fact that these bans, even though it seems like not that big of a deal because they're just saying no drag around school and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like that big of an issue. But it is just sort of part of a larger project of making gay people and queer things and trans people seem dangerous to children.
And scary. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I totally think it sucks. And I don't think it's necessary. And I think, parents can parent their kids the way they want. And if they want to homeschool, fine. If they want to keep them in school, fine. Whatever. I think parents should be able to do that, providing the children not being, abused by the weird parents, but whatever.
Right.
I'm just saying, with that particular thing, I didn't know all the sides. I didn't know what the PR campaign was being fed to scare people versus the PR. It happens on both sides where we hear and then people will say, Heather, that wasn't right. What's really behind this is that.
Yeah.
And that's where all the layers are. And that's why I wasn't that's why I was can we just promote the telethon, because I'm all for the art of drag. I'm all for the entertainment of drag. I'm all for people continuing to be able to entertain. And I love that drag has become such a big entertainment force in the last 15 years, thanks to RuPaul's Drag Race.
And also, you are somebody who understands the change that has happened in our society over the course of the past 30 years, where people who were silenced and alienated and told that they didn't have a place, like, are getting more freedoms, and like that's great, and it enriches all of us, and that there are people who are scared about that and are pushing back in different ways. And it is hard when people are paying attention. Years ago, I followed somebody on Twitter just because I liked a sitcom that they created. And then later somebody comes along and is like, why are you following this person? This person is very anti-trans. Are you anti-trans? And I, simultaneously was like, who are you to be going through who I follow and sort of like yelling at me about it? The fact that I follow this person doesn't mean I endorse everything that they say. But also, once I learned about it, I stopped following him. And the thing is like, sometimes this pushback is valuable for you to learn about stuff, but also people giving more space for the fact that like not everybody understands everything, is also important, because there are so many things that look like a good idea on the surface, and once you scratch them, it is more problematic, and you didn't know it when you just thought you were doing something nice or good. But in this situation, I do just want to let you and everybody know that however much it may seem like not a big deal, that like these drag bans are the thin end of the wedge of trying to push back rights for, all queer people, all trans people, and that in a larger sense is bad for everybody who's marginalized. We live in an America where women don't have the same control over their bodies that legally that they did 5 years ago. That's part of a larger movement, and we all need to be taking care of each other.
Absolutely. And when are you running for president?
Never.
Guy, tell everybody where they can follow you and find you and enjoy more Guy Branum fun.
I am at Guy Branum across all social media. And I'm on Platonic on Apple Plus. If you haven't watched it, please watch it.
Yes, it's so good. And enjoy him. And thank you so much. And everything for me is at heathermcdonald.net, September 29th and September 30th, Sacramento and San Francisco live Juicy Scoops. heathermcdonald.net, also for my Patreon. Every Friday there's episodes, but even more content is there. And if you join now, you will get every episode commercial free of my Patreon from the last 5.5 years. So it all lives there. Enjoy.